Been quite a while since I filmed a Top 5 Wednesday video, like 2 months, but today that changes because today's topic's pretty interesting, and that is the top 5 least favorite books in a series. Hello everyone, it is Samantha and I hope you guys have had a great week. We are halfway through the week, yay! So I'm excited about today's topic for Top 5 Wednesday because it is your top 5 least favorite books in a series. Anybody who has read series or trilogies or anything like that knows that there's always at least one book that you don't like quite as much as the others, so I think this is a pretty fun topic to kind of highlight that. As always, Ginger Reads Lainey, the creator of this Goodreads group and the Goodreads group, will be linked down below so you can find all the topics and check out Lainey's channel. So let us get started on my top 5 least favorite books in a series. Keep in mind, though, these books I like. I just don't like them as much as I like the other books in the series. So, though they may be my least favorite, that does not mean I don't like them. It just means that I don't like them as much. First book I want to talk about is from Harry Potter, and that is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Though I don't mind this book, it is my least favorite book in the Harry Potter series, and I don't know why necessarily. I think it's because it just didn't feel as exciting as the other books in the series were to me. Also, the thing that happens at the end is very depressing. So I can't think of anything in particular that I disliked about it. I just didn't find it as exciting as the other books in the series. Hence, it was not my favorite one in the series. Also, I remember when I got it, I was really sad because it felt like it wasn't as big as the rest of the books have been because I was so used to each book getting progressively larger. So I remember when I got the 6th book in the mail, because I got it the same day it came out, I was like, oh, it's a lot shorter than I thought it would be. So that was a little sad. But anyway, I still enjoyed it, just not my favorite one in the series. Book 2 goes to another popular trilogy and one of my favorites, but that is The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. Of all of the books in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Return of the King is my least favorite, and I think it's primarily because I hate endings. I hate when things end, and I typically like beginnings, so I tend to like first books for the most part the best. Not always, but in a lot of cases, and in this case in particular, Fellowship of the Ring is my favorite, and I think it's because I like beginnings, and I hate it when things end. So I think that's why I don't like this one as much, because everything kind of comes to an end, and I didn't want it to end, and I've said end a lot. You know when you start saying a word a lot and it starts to sound weird? End is starting to sound really weird. That was totally random. So anyway, I still love the book. It's just my least favorite in the series, and I think it's primarily because it ends and I don't want it to end. And that may seem like a lame excuse to some people, but that is just why it's not my favorite one in the trilogy for me. Next up is Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch, the second book in the Gentleman's Bastards series. This is actually a lot of people's favorite in the series, but for some reason it's not my favorite. And I don't really know why. I don't really know. I think it might be because I don't really particularly like the setting as much and the general plot of the story as much as the other two. I mean, I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't as exciting for me as book 1 and book 3 are. And I think it also moved a little bit slower than book 1 and 3. So I think that's why I don't really much care for this one as much. I mean, it's still a fun story. It's just not as exciting as the other two. So what are you gonna do? Next up is Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. I love Robin Hobb, as everyone knows. She is one of my top 3 favorite authors. I love her books so very much, but Assassin's Quest is probably one of my least favorites in her trilogies. It's still good, but I think it drags a lot, and Fitz can be very frustrating at times, so you feel very frustrated while reading the story, and I think that it could have been about 100 to 200 pages shorter than it is, so that's the primary reason why this is my least favorite in the Farseer trilogy. I love the first 2, and book 2 is my absolute favorite, but book 3 definitely has some very anticlimactic moments, and the characters could be a little bit frustrating at times. It's still a good story, and it definitely wraps up very well. The ending is perfect, but the middle bit was a bit of a slog to get through, not gonna lie. And the last book I have to feature in this Top 5 Wednesday video is Aragon by Christopher Paolini. I love The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini, but book 1 is definitely by far the weakest one. He was 15 when he wrote it, and that definitely shows at some points. The writing is the weakest in this one, I think. It's very tropey and stereotypical and reminiscent of a lot of other fantasy. You can tell he definitely pulled heavily from Tolkien, and that kind of diverges off in the rest of the books. He kind of definitely comes into his own in the rest of the series, creating his own characters and world and magic system, things like that. But the first one was definitely the most tropey and the most poorly written. So I think that if you stopped at this one, definitely give the rest of the series a chance, because book 1 is the weakest and my least favorite in the series. The rest of the series does get a lot better. Alright guys, that is it for my top 5 least favorite books out of a series. You'll have to let me know what one of yours is, or if you agree with my opinions on any of these. I would be curious to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful week. And until my next video, happy reading. Bye!